Alright everyone, today's video, 5 mistakes I wish I knew earlier when it comes to training and nutrition. We're going to go straight through this one and explain everything I wish I knew. So, number 1, cardio does not kill your gains. Now, when I first started, when I was bulking up, I didn't do any cardio because I was so sold on the fact that it would destroy my gains. Cardio would absolutely ruin it. However, that's far from the truth, and what happened to me was when I was playing football with my mates, I was playing five-a-side, and I would have to get subbed off every 5 minutes. It was that bad. It eventually got to a point where I actually couldn't lift as much because I was getting so tired from being unfit. It's not a good thing to do, skipping cardio. So I would recommend it. You also get to train on your rest days, and it's a good way to just get that dopamine boost every single day because you can't train 7 days in a gym. So for me, for example, I train 4 days in the gym and 3 days cardio, which means I'm exercising every single day. I feel good. If I could go back in time, I would simply do more cardio on my rest days and then eat back the calories I burn. It gives you an opportunity to kind of overeat if you've got a big appetite and you feel that you're always going over your calories. You can simply burn those calories and then eat them back because your goal is to gain weight. Or if you're overdoing it, simply do the cardio to keep you lean. Either way, it's a really, really good thing to incorporate and something that's going to help in all aspects of life. So don't just rule it out. Cardio does not kill your gains. You just eat the calories you burn back. Very simple. Very easy to track as well. So that's number 1. Number 2, more rest days equals more growth. Now, I never knew this. So normally what we do is we try and fit as many gym sessions in as possible because more gym sessions means more volume, which means more growth, right? But then you got to realize that's just the growth stimulation part. The real growth actually happens when you recover and allow your body to recover. But if you're training 6 days in a week out of a possible 7, you only get 1 day to recover. And I understand different muscles recover, but it's about your nervous system. You need to be allowing your whole body, the mechanisms inside it, to actually recover. And it should be an idea of training as intense as possible and then giving yourself the rest rather than just doing more frequent sessions at a lower intensity, because they will be at a lower intensity, right? If you're doing 4 sessions a week at 100%, there's a high likelihood that you're going to do 100% because you're going to have 4 sessions. When you do 6 sessions, you're going to be run down. They're not going to be 100%. So the likelihood is, the average is going to be 70 to 80% sessions. Now, because we need to actually get some rest in and allow time to recover and grow, you're far better doing 4 sessions at 100%, really, really pushing it to failure, as opposed to trying to increase the volume and get 6 average subpar sessions in. It's a mindset belief you need to change. It takes a bit of risk, I guess, because you're going to be scared that by lowering the volume, are we lowering the gains? But after doing it for 2-3 weeks and starting to track your results from the logbook and seeing how your strength increases, you'll realize, hang on, I was just overtraining. We're all overtraining, we just don't realize it. That's something I never knew for 2 years. And you get away with it at the start because your body's not used to it, but eventually you hit a plateau where you can't really increase strength. And you're like, hang on, why? That's why. Because you don't allow yourself the time to recover. So it depends on your training stage, right? But I'm telling you, higher intensity and more rest is the fastest way to grow. Change your mindset. So when we're looking at bodybuilding, I'm a big believer with everything that volume is the name of the game. But unfortunately, when it comes to bodybuilding, less is more. So sometimes if your body is run down, it's in your interest to actually take that extra rest day, not get that extra gym session in, just because it's not going to serve you anything. It's actually just going to delay your progress. If you want to get that dopamine boost that comes from exercise, do some cardio or do some some light weights and calves or something like that, right? But don't be trying to smash high intensity failure sessions 6 days a week. It's not going to help you. All right, that's number 2. So going on to number 3, less sets and higher intensity is the play. Goes kind of back to what I was saying. Muscles respond to intensity, not volume. If that was the case, why are we only doing 4 sets? So when we do chest press, why do we do 4 sets? Why not 15? Because if it was volume, right, we would just do as many sets as possible and we'd all get massive. If I told you you could do 20 sets a week or 20 sets per session and you get a bigger chest, you'd probably do them. But the point is that's not true, because once you hit a certain point, there is no more growth after that. You need to allow for the recovery, just as we talked about. So understand that principle and realise that, hang on, if I stimulate enough intensity, then I don't need to be doing 4 sets. And that is exactly what I'm trying to teach you here. So realise you're better off doing 1 to 2 working sets. By all means do 4 sets, but allow the 2 sets preceding to let you warm up to 1 to 2 working sets, maximum failure. That's what you want to be doing. Because if you do that, you're going to be able to go heavier and stimulate as much growth as possible. Because you'll be able to go to true failure. Think about it. If you have only 1 set, right, and I say you can only do one set and you're going to go at failure, you're going to go as hard as possible to make it count, because you know there's no other set. You can't do another one, so you're not going to leave any reps on the table. You're going to give it your all. And once you've done that, there's no more to do other than to rest. That's it. You do one set of failure and you keep beating that every single week, and the job's done. Think about it like this way. 3 sets of failure is bollocks. It's bullshit, right? Because if the first set was truly failure, how are you doing 2 more? Do you know what I mean? If it was really, really failure, the thing is you wouldn't train the failure because you know you have 2 more sets. So you're leaving reps in the tank for the next 2 sets. Why would you not just do 1 set to complete failure? Now, I was skeptical about this at first, but I started doing it, and I've been doing this for a year or 2 now, and my results have been crazy. Like on a deficit, I see massive increase in strength, and that's it. Focus on just training to pure failure, and honestly, the only way you can do that is by reducing your volume, focusing on 1 to 2 working sets, and really, really pushing the limits. That's how you stimulate as much growth as possible. Something to note. Now, progressive overload is a must. We all know this, right? But who's actually tracking? When I first started, I didn't track anything. Eventually, I got to a point where I was like, right, I want to take this really seriously. So I started tracking everything. I downloaded an app. And what that does is 2 things. 1, it allows you to get better every week because you know exactly what you lifted last week and therefore can keep increasing on that. So it's not a bit of guesswork. You're not getting to the gym and go, hang on, what did I do last week? Because those weeks, they add up when you don't know. Like maybe you remember the most part, right? But you're going to forget one time. And as a result, you're going to do the same thing you did last week. You're not going to progress. And that means we're going around in circles. Why not just remove the thinking aspect, download an app, track everything, and then when you go to the gym, try and beat what you did last week? It means you get better every time. And if you keep doing that, then it becomes very hard not to make progress because you're consistently getting better, even if it's a really, really small increase. That's your goal. Track everything, beat the logbook, and do that with perfect form. If you do that, you'll win. You just need to rinse and repeat that, and it becomes fun. That's what got me addicted to the gym. It was just like, right, how do I keep beating it every week? And it's like you complete 1 rep range, you unlock the next weight. And then once you complete that, you unlock the next weight. It's quite fun. But you don't get that fun if you don't track because you can't see it. Do you know what I mean? Like once you have all of this written down and you can see your progress, you can see I did this last week, there's graphs to show this, and you're going like this, it becomes very, very fun. So I think tracking is really, really important. Progressive overload is a must, and that is the way you do it. So download yourself an app and make sure that's a fundamental part of your training. It can be done on paper as well if you want. It doesn't need to be done on an app, whatever's easiest, but I think the app's easiest, to be honest with you. To go back, sorry. You can gain muscle whilst losing fat. This is another one. I was always confused. Can you gain muscle whilst losing fat? Well, if you just take what I just said there, and you have a logbook, and you keep getting stronger, you're pushing to failure. You must be growing muscle. You can't get stronger without growing muscle, unless you're obviously training like a power lifter and you're not really focusing on hypertrophy. But if we're talking about hypertrophy and we're working in that 6 to 8 rep range, time under tension, and we're consistently adding, intensity, we're adding more weight to the bar, we're adding more reps, and we're getting better every time, you're growing more muscle. Something must have changed for that strength increase to occur, and that's muscle growth, very, very simply. So if you can do this while in a deficit, which is pretty possible with the right training structure, the right organization of macronutrients, so if you're carb loading before your workouts, you can still gain muscle. But if you're in a deficit, you're going to lose weight. If you think about that, if you're gaining muscle and you're losing weight, then the only possible thing you could be losing is fat. Therefore, you are gaining muscle and losing fat. I didn't know this at first because I was, it sounds really complicated stuff. I think I broke it down pretty simply there. It's very, very fucking possible. You just need to focus on your training intensity. Don't worry too much about anything else, just your training intensity. Because if you can get the gaining muscle part whilst in a deficit, whilst coming down, you'll be sweet. For the last 3 months, I've been in a deficit and I've gained on all my lifts. And therefore, I'm growing muscle. And that's why my weight doesn't really kind of fluctuates, doesn't really go down as much because, sometimes you're gaining weight and muscle and sometimes you're losing it. It's how body recomposition works. But that's kind of basically it. That's what I'd say. I mean, 5 things. I just kind of noted it down. What would I do differently and what I wanted to know. This took me 4 years to learn. So please use this. Use this to your advantage. Quick summary for you. Cardio does not kill your gains. You eat back the calories you burn. More rest days equals more growth. Remember, rest is the only time you recover. It's in your interest to train as hard as possible and then allow yourself the rest. Less sets, higher intensity. Why would we not do 20 sets? Because muscles respond to intensity, not volume. Therefore, your focus should be on the intensity, not the volume. Less sets, higher intensity. Progressive overload is a must. Einstein, famous quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. If you do the same way over and over again, do not expect to grow more muscle or get stronger. If you don't track it, then you won't get stronger. But if you track it and you keep increasing the weight and you do it with the right form and you're smashing progressive overload, guess what's going to happen? You're going to progress. So that's number 4. Number 5, you can gain muscle whilst losing fat. You just need to keep doing what I said there, progressively overloading, put yourself in a deficit, you lose fat, progressively overload, you gain muscle. Very, very simple. So that's today's video, 5 things I wish I knew. I've got a few more coming like this and I'll get that pushed out tomorrow. But yeah, that's everything. If you need any help, you know where to find me. Drop a comment. Link in the bio if you need some coaching. I'm taking on people for April. March is all done. But if you need any help, Instagram, comments, you know where to find me. So that's all for today, and I will see you on the next one. Safe.